All right, Billy boy. Dude, this has been a challenging, right? To sync everything up and technology and stuff still. Yeah. Hear ya, man. I have that ADD thing going on strong, as you know. It's not a good combo.
Can I bring up something,
please,
briefly?
Mm-hmm.
Just quickly.
Yep.
There was a video posted, and I believe it was Saturday morning after training.
Correct.
A bunch of you troglodytes decide to go jump in the ocean.
Yeah. That was Act 2, by the way. Did you see the previous one? Did Andrew send you that one on Instagram?
Oh, yeah, the previous week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a bigger group this time, including one Dr. Chris Hardy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did the videoing of the knuckleheads jumping in, and then I handed the phone off to someone that didn't last that long. I basically jumped in and got right back out and like, well, then just, you can video me.
I could already tell. You haven't told me who that is, but I know that was Derek Gabagool.
How do you know that?
For sure. Because you can see in the video, this big giant man jumps into the water.
Yeah.
And then immediately is like backstroking to get out of there, like he just fell in the lava.
Well,
and he ruined Andrew's landing zone, so then it made Andrew look like a big old wiener.
Yeah, we stayed in there for about 15 minutes. Most of us did. I was highly encouraging a couple folks to get out. There's a couple folks with like zero body fat, and their lips are turning blue and they're shivering. I'm like, you need to go.
Yeah, no kidding. And the reason I brought it up is because I wanted to protect our friend, our professor, our favorite Ginge.
Yeah.
That he was not being that big of a wiener, an Oscar Mayer wiener. He did not fear the water, because in the video it looks like he did. Not
at all. He's full Norwegian, dude.
Yeah, it was Derek Gabagool's poor decision that made him do that. Now, what I really want to get to is, you fancy yourself as a diver. You have brought up so many times, every time people come over, you got to walk them through all your medals and all this.
No. What type of diver are we talking?
Yep. You always have to brag that you are a Navy diver. And in this video, you go full steam. It looks like you're going to take off this dock just like a bat out of hell. And there was a little stumble. Do you recognize this?
Yeah, and it was funny because my brother actually made fun of it and recreated it in a little video into jumping into a pool. He's such a troll. I was running up to it, and out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw something protruding. You can't see the bottom. You don't know what's, that's why I wouldn't encourage anybody diving. And it was that little bit of nervous system, like, hey, what's that? And then, I thought like maybe a sharp piece of metal or something. Yeah. But hey, look, man, there's a difference between being a diver, like underwater, and someone that jumps off a diving board. Those are two different things.
I'll allow it.
I have more of the stink bug entry. That's my, we typically don't, as actual underwater divers, we don't dive in the water. It's a safety issue. You don't go in head first ever. So don't do that anyway. But it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny because I was like, thought I saw something sharp, something sticking out of the water. I think it was a piece of seaweed or something. I don't know what it was, but for that split second, I hesitated.
It's a good excuse. I'm happy you thought about something because it looked very weak.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the most graceful entry. That's for damn sure. Yeah. Yeah.
What can I
Enough so
say? I
that my
didn't even
brother,
know.
hey, look, my brother, we didn't even talk about it. I always talk to him on Tuesdays after work, and I'm sure he's going to give me an earful, but he picked right up on it and just sent me a 10-second video of him trying to recreate my dumb looking entry, which was
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah. It was
Oh,
pretty cool, dude. Yeah.
I paused it, and after I watched it 3 times, and I said, Olivia, you got to check this out. Watch at the very end.
Yeah.
And it,
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
it was amazing. You created laughter in our home.
Well,
So thank you.
I'm glad. Yeah, the whole thing. Andrew's really starting to come into his own as a little video editor.
Yeah, he is. He's trying to get another stripe on his photographer belt.
Yeah, yeah.
When I come up in December, he's gonna, expect that maybe there's a belt promotion, not just a stripe. I don't know.
I
I'm
think
not
he
saying yes to
deserves it.
that.
I mean, the previous week was like full Top Gun.
Yeah.
You know,
He was in the water with the camera.
hilarious. Yeah, so it was great. Yeah, so yeah, that's cold exposure. There you go.
Mhm. I mean, I didn't even get in the water. If the pool is below 82,
Yeah.
it's just not going to be a pool day for me.
Well, I did another cold plunge this morning, and it's never fun.
No. What's a comfortable water temp? Is
Look,
because I seriously feel like anything below the 80s doesn't feel very
it
good.
depends on what you're doing. Now, if you're just hanging
Chilling.
out and just, talking and chatting and stuff, just like pool party type of thing, somewhere in the 80s is probably good. But for swimming, like exercising, that's way too warm. You'll end up, yeah. So I like 68 or even 70 maybe for swimming laps and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ain't doing that. I'm a chiller. I had some. I was watching some YouTubes here, and a couple topics came up that I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna see if I can get some juicy takes out of Old Man River, and see if I kind of spice you up a little bit, or you might give me your silly, like, oh, everyone's fine. We don't deal with that ever. We'll see."
We'll see what, I might go, if you watch Yellowstone, I might go full John Dutton on somebody.
Okay. I just started 1883. So,
oh, dude,
it's like, I think is that the precursor to it?
Yeah, there's two precursors. There's like 1883 and something like 1923 or something like that. And yeah, dude, that 1883, Carrie and I was like, could this be more depressing? It was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially the beginning.
Yeah. No, I love the series. It's great. So anyway, yeah, I'll do my best, dude. I you never know what you're going to get. If I'm grouchy, you might get something different.
That's true.
Yeah. I have a brief topic too.
Okay. Here, we'll probably mow through these pretty quick.
Okay.
And then, so I'll just kick it off.
Okay.
With the initial question is, what are some things that make you not want to train with someone? So these are like almost like red flags that you personally are like, if they do this, you're done. You're dead to me. You do this, I kill your family. You do this, you're getting mother's milked. What are some things? I can kick a couple off.
I have one right off the bat. And yeah, so it's one of the ones it's one of the few, I think, for me anyway, that would give me that red flag. Ripping on a submission, just in a training partner, like, going like full throttle, trying to rip your arm off in an arm bar, or, some hyper aggressive, as a matter of fact, that's how I hurt my left shoulder, and I got frozen shoulder from a visitor that, I probably should have been a little more defensive, but ripped on an Americana. Like, usually when you get a lock on someone, you slowly, will slowly apply the submission.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you differentiate between, let's say, just an armbar is an easy example. You're in a normal, like, spider web kind of armbar position.
Yep.
They got their hands locked in some sort of configuration, and they're really trying to like break that grip. They're putting a lot of effort.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
But the finish, having enough control, if you're going to really put a ton of effort into the break, which I get, right? Especially if someone's really like, trying to defend the heck out of it. But if you're doing that, you need to have the control when it breaks free to control the end range of that.
So it's not necessarily, you're not saying like they can put a ton of effort into all that part, but it's as soon as that grip does break, that's when you want to see some control.
Or like, let's say someone has north south and they turn you on your side and they're going for that classic Kimura, that side Kimura, you know what I'm talking about, where they
sit on the head.
You're sitting on the head, right, and you're trying to rip that grip away when we're trying to defend it. Same thing with that one. Yeah, I understand. You sometimes breaking the grip is one thing, but then finishing the submission, you don't want to use the same kind of explosive force you're on the grip break into the finish. And I think that's the key, is having that kind of breaking mechanic where I'm not breaking like you're breaking something, like putting on the brakes is what I mean.
Yeah. So you had that Kimura situation. I had one.
No, it's an Americana.
Or Americana, excuse me. I had one with a toe hold. I was in 50-50. And it was funny. The guy asked right before we like slap and bumped, and we started in 50-50. And he's like, hey, can we practice some leg stuff?
Did you know this person?
I did. And I should have known better, though. It's someone that doesn't really have much throttle control. And I just felt like I don't know. It's one of those things where you're just kind of in the moment. Yeah, sure. Let's go and practice. And they, in 50-50, they grabbed the outside leg, and they were quite tall compared to me, at least. And so they were able to just reach, grab my toes, and then they did a toe hold, but they did a toe hold instead of like pressing the toes towards the butt. They kind of went out.
Oh, I know exactly that catch from 50-50. That you got to watch
like
that.
A heel hook.
Yep, the mechanics are very similar.
Yeah, and it just 3 or 4 pops just up the outside of my knee, and the thing is, he could have got the grip and then established just a super quality grip.
That's all you need to do.
Start. I don't even mind if he goes to the outside, honestly. Like I'm more of a less rules is better kind of person, under control. So I don't mind that he went more heel hooky. It was that he went 0 to like 80. Like,
here's the thing, man. Those rules are there for those situations. If everyone was super controlled and almost like catch and release, or even a little beyond catch and release, when you got the position and you're just, when someone's got you, especially in 50-50, it's hard to move out of that.
Yeah, especially that, because your escape is to roll.
Exactly.
Let's say
right
to the right in this scenario, because it's my left leg that he was attacking. You can't, because your hips are locked.
That's my point. And so that's a very dangerous one. So those rules are there. I know I'm like you. If everyone was super controlled, then man, let's do it.
So one of mine because I have a nice little list, is in the second to last one on my list here. I have 6.
Oh wow!
Was submission ripper. So
okay, so we're on the same page as that one. Well,
yeah,
you seem to have a lot of issues here. So tell me more, Bill.
I hate people, and that's it.
Okay.
So one is falling body weight moves.
I'll second that.
Obviously, Connie Basami or scissor takedown. That's an easy one. That's you basically. I don't even know if you should practice that with your favorite training partners. Like it's an asshole move if you're going to do it to someone that's not your favorite training partner. That scissor takedown specifically. But then let's get into like flying stuff, like flying triangles, flying arm bars, doing that in the training room.
Yeah.
During a sparring match. I it's like, so if I was doing it with Andrew, let's say, or he was doing it like he did it to me, I wouldn't care,
No.
because it's someone I've done who knows how many rounds with. I know they're at an advanced level, so there's a care there, right? So I don't care about that.
Mm.
And I don't know if you heard about a certain flying triangle that happened this last week at Cascade Jiu-Jitsu. Have you heard about this?
Man, how am I out of the loop on this? You're not even freaking here. What the hell, dude?
Well, it's an embarrassing situation. Let's
Mm.
just say that. And there was a horrible injury. I'm shocked that you haven't heard of this.
Why
No?
hasn't someone told me about this?
I think there's a lot of embarrassment involved.
Oh.
Yeah. So someone went for a flying triangle. One advanced person went for a flying triangle on another advanced person.
Mm-hmm.
And the result was one of them got pink eye from it. And it's pretty severe, because as the person went for the flying triangle and then they didn't quite get the triangle, it was almost like coming off to the side for an omoplata, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the latch didn't over the shoulder didn't happen super
Mm-hmm.
well. But they weren't full omoplata where they're side by side,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where you're like hugging the hip.
Yeah, I got it.
They're still a little bit squared up to them. Now, in that moment, because you can kind of imagine the person, their head's kind of coming out,
Mm-hmm.
right, from the triangle position, but they're not side to side for the omoplata.
Correct.
So in that moment, the person attacking that jumped for the flying triangle, which it wasn't like a full both guys standing, it was in transition,
Mm-hmm.
right? They were both on their knees and from like dogfight,
Mm-hmm.
and then one of them just tries to hop into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in this moment, as the guy that's in the omoplata triangle, his head pops out and he's almost coming underneath the butt there, right? And in that moment, the attacker ripped a huge fart.
Okay, no. So, of course I know about this. Yeah, I saw the video with the sound effects. So for some reason, I thought someone actually injured themselves. No, I know exactly. The gas chamber was it's almost like
pink eye is pretty serious.
Dude. Well, I asked the perpetrator.
Yeah.
After I saw the video, I'm like, well, how did you load up? And he started to describe the technique. I'm like, no, bro. How'd you load up the GI tract?
How'd you load up the body?
He said, yes, carnitas burrito, and a bunch of other things.
Taco Del Mar, to be specific.
Yeah, of course I heard that. I mean, come on, it has to do with a fart, dude.
So if you can imagine, for the listeners, this young man, I'll call him a young man, he typically does not eat Taco Del Mar. And he decided to get that shredded pork with a little pinco de gallo, a little bit of guac, a little bit of sour cream. He might be lactose intolerant.
Did you say pinco de gallo?
Watch your tone with me. Don't
is that like is that like communist de gallo?
I'm in Arizona. I say it appropriately. Louisiana hick. And then, yeah. And he's not used to that flavor of Mexican. And it ruined him.
Well,
he farted all over this young man's face. And I actually heard from a little birdie that wasn't the first time in that class that he had a loose bee. Nope. Do you know about the first time?
He didn't share it with me, but he was actually quite proud of this one. He actually brought it up and showed me the video where he spliced a sound effect into it.
Yeah, he sent that to me too. And you should probably let the other black belt know that he's sharing such treason. But I guess he should have had an idea that his butt was a little loose. Why, you say? Because he was showing a technique earlier in the class, a beautiful collar drag, cross collar grip, fall to your kind of your right hip, butt, cheek, pull the collar, take the single leg, drive and finish.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it just so happened that this young man's butt was so loose that as soon as his butt hit the mat, he got a little boost.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if the butt was loose. Here's the thing, man. When you have escapes,
Excuse you?
well, I'll tell you, here's my thought process on this. So bear with me. So if you have an outcome, which is stinky gas escaping, it could be A, a loose B, or the internal pressure was so great that even a normal toned butthole would have a hard time resisting. You get where I'm coming from?
Would you call that a sphincter?
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So knowing the lifestyle of this guy, wouldn't you say it's probably more so the loose B?
I don't know, man.
Well,
Well, I mean, judging by the tone of the two videos he's released recently, you might wonder. I don't know.
okay. All right. We don't judge on the Grappling with podcast. Am I right?
No, of course not.
Hey, you do you, boo-boo. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is Amy has a good time. On to the next is...
Oh, wow.
So I labeled it Bath Salts Chris. Bath Salts Chris is not someone I want to roll with.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Do you know what Bath Salts Chris is? Can you think of what I'm trying to say here?
Holy cow. Either someone that is trying to use some, fake drugs in rolling, or someone that likes to use like post rolling recovery baths.
Okay, well, you're completely wrong. So the bath salts Chris. So for people that haven't trained with our beautiful physician here, he's a strong fella. You're a strong man. You're a grown baby boy, and you take testosterone and you lift weights and you've lived a life, right? Well, part of that is we've always talked about the spectrum. There's the people that are, it's hard for them to engage their muscles when they start. It's hard for them to really put in effort because they haven't built that trigger in their mind. Then there's the opposite side of the spectrum, which is people that are just spazzy as can be, and they try way too hard all the time. They jump around, fly around, and almost kill people every single time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not on that end of the spectrum, but you started on that side of the spectrum, as in tense.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Bath Salts Chris is someone that is like that, where they're very tense at all times. Every moment, they're just gripping 100%. Maybe they're not scatting back and forth.
Yeah, but a lot of tension.
A lot of tension.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the best way.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's you. And then you on bath salts means it's elevated even more.
I see where you're going.
Yeah, if you were on bath salts, I mean, you'd probably be a good time, but it would probably be horrible to roll with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell you, I think in general, that took through most of my white belt time somewhere into blue belt. But then when I get into like a tense, like a little flight or fight response, it naturally will come back out where I'll start over gripping and stuff like that. It's something I've worked on for years now.
It's something that can still pop up, right? Like where it's like...
It's a lot less than it used to. Matter of fact, now I've really made a conscious effort. Andrew and I were talking about that the other day. And one of the things, even he's a 4th degree black belt, and some of the things he was talking about is really getting to relax even more himself in certain situations, right? And so I think this is something that everyone works on to an extent. Some definitely, I came in very fast, twitchy, I don't know what the mindset was, but, way out of my comfort zone. And I think a lot of people are like that. You get super tense and you got to be like, all right, man, you got to get that nervous system to calm down. It's tough. Yeah, no, I agree with you. But if someone is, it's a bear to roll with, especially like you said, bath salts. You could call them methed out Chris or coked up Chris or something like that. You know.
I kind of stole the name from a YouTuber named Tyler Spangler. There
Mm-hmm.
was a guy,
Mm-hmm.
he would do rounds with at his gym called Bath Salts Ben, because
Oh.
the guy would, he wasn't really what I'm explaining. He would try very hard. He was a white belt. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
a blue belt now,
Mm-hmm.
but he would make these crazy faces
Mm.
as he's trying to get out of stuff, and
Yeah.
it looked like a guy on bath salts. So
Ah, that's a
fairly entertaining.
sure. So that one of your that's one of your red
Well, yeah,
flags.
and specifically, yeah, with not taking jabs at you as much, is
Mm.
the person that is very stiff and they don't engage really. I hate
Mm.
that. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? If you're just gonna sit there, break my grips and I break yours, and you don't actually try to pass,
We're
or
we're doing
you don't
we're doing anti jujitsu type of stuff, like like just
in the training room,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
kills me. I just rolled with a guy and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna roll with that guy for a long time. Like, one, it's just not fun. Like, I'm here to enjoy
Is
this,
someone
or
open
do
to maybe some feedback?
I don't get that vibe.
Oh,
He's another
gotcha.
black belt,
Oh.
and
Oh.
I don't get the vibe that this guy is, and that's another thing. I just didn't get a really good vibe from him,
Mm-hmm.
so I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll just kind of avoid that round. It's just not. I don't get anything from it. And
Right.
then he did it with Olivia as well, and it was like Olivia on the way home was like, "What? That was just a waste of a round for both of us,
Yeah.
because you're not you're not doing anything. You
We
just
it's
they're a
interesting.
gorilla of a person."
Yeah, we had a do you remember that the last rev you were here when we had our two brown belts competing against that same guy that
Yes, yes,
exactly like that, right? He was very
and
much very strong, super good base, but just sat there and would
he would
frustrate.
get 2 points in the very, like, he was good about stealing the 2 points on a guard pull,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was 5.5 minutes
Yep.
of getting penalties, and
Yeah.
he would rack up multiple penalties,
Yeah.
and,
Our two
yeah, he
brown
just
belts were
that's
super
it.
frustrated that we're
Yeah,
competing.
and
It's like, yeah.
part of me, it's like, I get, okay, tournament, well, you gotta I still think that that's stupid and retarded, but, to do even in a tournament, because
No,
that
look.
just shows you're so scared of losing, and, like, you just wanna win, and
Well,
ugh.
here's the thing. Now, let's say you have 30 seconds left and you're up on points. There's a strategic thing with, okay, I'm going to get in a safe position and not do anything,
Different, for
but
sure.
not for five, like you said. And it was literally that 5.5 minutes, which
Yeah,
was,
where you're not testing your jujitsu
no,
as a 40-year-old hobbyist at a local tournament.
right.
Like, you're not at Master Worlds where now you can put your little gold medal and say, put
Sure.
in your Instagram bio, I'm a Master World Champion, or maybe you don't even put Master World Champion because you're that person, and you just say, I'm a world champion 4 times, or some ridiculous crap like that.
Yeah.
So you're not even doing that. You're at a
Mm,
local tournament
mm-hmm.
trying to, I would assume, test your jujitsu. So now you're
Yeah.
just going to steal 2 points and then sit there in half guard on top.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's gross.
Well, one of them was, the first one, it was 0-0.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was, yeah, that was
Yeah.
rough to watch, and it's frustrating for our guys too.
Yeah. Another that I have is, while drilling, they're Mr. Stiffy. You know what I mean?
So that's kind of the same thing, but except for rolling, it's drilling when you're trying to get some technique in, and you're trying to, there being a board, literally like a wooden
Just
board as a new
so
K,
much.
right? Yeah, that's frustrating too.
And it's one of those things where if you're new, that's different. I'm not
Of
talking about the
course.
new guy.
No, of
If
course.
you have any sort of color to your belt, you need to learn how to be a good partner.
Yep.
And being this like stiff as a board, not allowing people to do the move, or like putting extra defense or tension in
Yeah.
to try to make it difficult on them, and be like, "Oh, I'm not going to just give you that." So, like, we're passively practicing the move, and because we suck at it,
Well,
that comes later.
that's right. And the intention, I mean, Andrew talks about this during class when he's like, all right, folks, let's be a good uke, give 30% of, not being a limp fish there, but
Yeah.
but then, as the drilling people were more proficient, then like, okay, let's give you a little better look, a
Yeah.
little more defensive, right? But not letting it happen. We're trying to drill,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's a time and place for the good reactions and stiffness,
that's
and
right.
Mr. Stiffy can come out at some point, but not in the beginning. Have some freaking respect.
Well, I would argue not in public places.
Well, that's because we're different. Which you actually mentioned something that brings me into the next, and that's the
Oh,
overcooked ramen noodle guy,
yeah.
that old limp fish.
The little super passive.
Oh my gosh, like, and I don't mean in rolling. Once again, I'm talking about in drilling,
Mhm.
where let's say you're half guard, you got to dig an underhook, and we're doing like, the old school sweep,
Yeah,
or something like that. You got to get the dog fight. You bump them forward to get the dog fight, and they face plant and just roll to their side.
yeah. That's a
Like,
problem.
who's doing that? Nobody. And if you did, you suck. Stop doing it. But then you get people to, once again, I'm not, you beautiful white belts that are 6 months and under, maybe even a year. I hope not at a year, but 6 months and under, I'm not talking to you. You are a blind person that doesn't know what they're doing. So I don't expect you to like have that reaction.
No, of course.
But once again, if you got any tinge to your belt, what are you doing?
You
What are you
seem
doing?
you seem upset by this. Getting all
I've been touched.
getting all spicy. Okay.
I've been touched multiple times. Okay. Damn limp noodles, Mr. Stiffy. Um,
So what you're saying
so
is there should be a happy medium.
thank you.
Okay.
Took a doctor to figure that
Yeah.
out. The um do you have any others before I keep going through my list?
Yeah, I mean, you've thought this out. It's like a manifesto. No, please continue.
Yeah, I'm something of a genius.
Yeah. Self-proclaimed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got the submission ripper, we got Mr. Stiffy, we got the ramen noodle guy, overcooked, bath salts Chris, falling body weights. Now this is just me. This is just me. I don't know why this might bother me. Okay, I would say Mr. Stiffy is up there. Um, falling body weight guy, that one's kind of more rare. So, there's not a lot of people doing that as much, but I think it's the most dangerous.
Mhm.
But this one is up there with Mr. Stiffy. You get Mr. Stiffy away from my ass, then this guy comes in. Overly serious when it's not comp training. I get it. I'm a little bit of a silly goose. Okay. I'm down for a silly goose time. I can train hard. I can, have the more intense rounds and all that kind of stuff, and be serious. But when, and I understand the people that don't like chit chatting during rolling.
Mhm.
I totally understand that.
Don't come to our gym.
But, and that's another thing. I am a product of my environment.
We like insulting each other.
Absolutely.
Or even
It's
worse, if
insult.
someone's rolling with someone else and then while they're rolling looks across the room and starts insulting you.
Immediately.
And then the guy rolling with him like, hey, man.
we fart in each other's faces.
It's all good.
I mean, was that intentional or not? I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot of preparation that went into that, so you be the judge.
That's a good point.
Mm.
Was that an intentional Del Taco burrito that was eaten?
Well, I mean, if I ate, beans and rice with hummus and kimchi before class today.
Oh, your Tales from the Crypt body just letting out the dust.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
that's like a horror movie.
Oh man, once I took the dogs for a walk at a park,
Mm-hmm.
and we put the little poop in the bag,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't double bag it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hot out here.
Yeah, that's a rookie move, dude.
It's been in the hundreds. Actually, yesterday or the day before it was 115 out of nowhere. And let me just say, don't leave a poop bag in the back of your car in 100-degree heat.
Usually most people would file that under duh, but go ahead.
Well, I bring it up because I imagine that's about half as bad as your butthole after eating hummus and beans.
Yeah, there's some, it's kind of rough, dude.
Yeah, we'll have to get Carrie on to talk about that.
Oh my God.
But
yeah, go ahead.
Overly serious guy. And what I mean is like, you try to interact at all, and they are just deadlocked. And once again, I said overly serious when it's not comp training. If we're comp training, that's a different thing. You got to be in the zone. You got to be intentional. You got to be present. La 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 la.
So the overall vibe is like ultra serious and no.
Ugh. Yeah. Ugh. There's a guy here. He's one of the main guys I train with. His name's Ramsey. Just a young, beautiful, I would say probably half ginge. I would say maybe even 3/4. So obviously I get along with him, and he's an active competitor, and he has told me he doesn't prefer the like chit chat during rounds. I still do it. I still love to talk to him because that's the only way I kind of get like any sort of position on him is like I start joking with him and then I blast knee cut or something like that. But even him, like he can still joke, or he can still have a niceties. Maybe I'm just soft. I'm from Seattle now, so I'm like a soft little ginger, or not ginger, but a flower fairy. And but I don't like that vibe of the overly serious guy.
Yeah. Just with honestly, with anything though, that's one of those people that I couldn't be friends with.
Right.
Right. I mean, it doesn't be jujitsu. I mean, if someone just like, they're like, huh, you
take yourself too serious.
Yeah. I think that's a problem in general. And, a lot of that is insecurity with a lot of people though.
If you can't make fun of yourself, we're probably not going to be friends.
That's for damn sure. Especially for you. I mean, that's just sport,
Yeah.
Well,
I was trying to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say in my household, it is a sport between my spouse and I. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. It's hilarious.
I was trying to tell someone just the other day, I was like, if I make fun of you on the podcast or in person or whatever, that means you're now in my trust tree. Mm-hmm. We are now sharing underwear. Mm-hmm. We are now eating together with no shirt. We are good to go. I am friendly. You are friendly. We are friends.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Oh, I know what that is.
That's what that is.
Yeah. That's
tummy sticks. So
that was a scene from the first Deadpool too, I think, or the second one.
Oh, you dirty dog. So my last question when it comes to these, because that was my list of major pet peeves, red flags, might not ever train with you again if you do those, is which of these do we fall into?
Me?
Both of us. Like, do we do any of these?
Yeah. So I would, most of them I would say no, but certainly the one that you used my name in, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious. that used to be something I had to work constantly on is loosening body tension.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, if you start that way, it's such an uphill battle to get rid of that. And the other side, the to try hard, to
Yeah.
put in effort.
Yeah.
Um, I think hmm, I do sometimes throw flying triangles at people, not like from both standing, but like in transition, like we're both like trying to stand up in that moment, and then I'll like it's almost like a guard pull into
Yeah.
a triangle.
Yeah.
I think you've seen me do that, right?
Oh, for sure. You'll
Where
slap that dirty triangle on first, like super quick.
like trying to throw the butt underneath them and
Yeah,
like
totally.
clamp. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong
So
with that. I don't think that's you're taking advantage of a transition. Maybe their arm came forward and
yeah,
you saw the opportunity to kind of lock that up.
right,
That's different to me.
right. I was um attacked as or what's that when you like you what is that called when you're like accuse someone like so I was accused of being a submission ripper about a week ago,
You?
a week and a half. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So I drop into a gym. I'd never been there before, 2 weeks ago, and it's I didn't realize it was no gi, and alls I brought was my gi stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, geez. And it was an MMA gym that has a jiu-jitsu program.
Yeah.
And it was a weekend, a noon open mat. I wasn't sure. Uh, yeah, anyways. So I go in there. I thought it was gi, ended up not being. So I don't have any grappling no gi gear, right?
Yeah.
So I just wore a t-shirt and my short shorts that were sweats, like
Mm-hmm.
sweat shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So I look like just some Joe Schmo off the street trying my first like trial class.
Mm-hmm.
And and you know, it's an MMA gym, so they don't like abide by uh like you don't know what skill level anybody is except for the instructor.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was a black belt because I looked him up on Instagram. And so I start rolling with guys, and there's a dude. His name's Bill. Oh, maybe I should have said that.
No.
Anyways, tall guy. He's got a blue rash guard on. He's quite a bit bigger than me, and we're rolling. I could tell. Okay, he's not like a fresh, day one guy. Um, I throw him in a triangle, like a dirty triangle, and he's really defending. He's got his elbow down at my hip. He's trying to pin my hips down and
Mm-hmm.
keep that space between his neck and the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things to do is I take that little hand right behind that elbow that you're pinning my hip,
Yep.
and then I turn into a guy from Nova Scotia and I start playing that accordion with your wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It sounds like a donkey, dude. It sounds like an accordion.
you should watch your tone next time, honestly. So I get my hand behind the elbow, and you're being lazy about it because you don't want to like show it.
Yeah.
I get my hand across his punching knuckles, and then I kind of hip up, and then as my hips come down,
Yep.
I compress. I know when I rip stuff. I did not rip this thing.
No.
I did not like really throw it on hard. If it was boots, I would have put it on super hard. Nikita, super hard.
Right.
I did not do this.
Right.
I don't know this guy. I just put it on and he scream taps immediately. And he looks at me and goes, "Dude, what the hell?" I was like, what?" And he says, Man, what are you doing? You got to go way easier on that, man. Holy smokes. And he's like shaking his wrist
Oh,
out,
geez.
like really like hamming it up. And I was just like,
Like
oh
like
shit, my
like
bad, dude.
like a soccer player that got penalized.
Yeah, this dude went full, Messi. I don't know what soccer player's name, but he just full on. So then I'm like, oh, okay, well, shit, my bad. And he's like, you know what? Next time, just tell me you got me in a wrist lock. Don't even finish it. Just say, hey man, I got you in a wrist lock.
That's
I'm like,
ridiculous.
I'll never do that.
You're like,
Ever.
I got you. I got you. You better tap. That's stupid.
Oh, you want me to be looked at like the biggest douchebag in
That's
Arizona?
stupid, dude. So I think, you know what, if I had to guess, you went to a new gym, they didn't know you, you look like a scrub coming in, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, you caught this dude with some sharp technique, and then he got his little ego hurt a little bit, is what I think.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking, like, if I would have said that and the black belt sees me say that as a visitor, got you. Just letting you know I got you. The guy would have beat my ass, probably.
Of course, and he should have.
Yes. So then he says that to me. Dude, you should have just told me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, shit, man. I literally go, well, I'm not going to do that, but I'll go easier on the wrists. And he's like, he goes, and he continues to just sit there and not start rolling again and just,
he got his ego hurt.
Yeah. And then he's like, we just don't do those here, man. I was like, oh shit.
Well, we don't do parts of jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. I go, well, that's like half my game. So, but it's all good. I just won't go for him. And then he goes, man, I've been training for 5 years, but I'm still a white belt, and we don't do those till blue belt. And I was like, why are you still a white belt?
First of all,
obviously there's reasons, I guess, injuries, whatever. But if you've been training that long, you should be wrist locking yourself at that point, like, right?
Yeah.
So he continues, and then after the round, after he gets done, like, telling me again, like, just please go easier on those things. I was like, okay, well, and I told him, I go, well, where I'm from, we wrist lock white belts, so it doesn't really matter.
Yep. Well, in his defense, if we had to go to court over this, I would say I've heard Mr. Walker say he would wrist lock a child.
Oh, ask Jared's kid.
I know.
My last day in there, I was putting some heat on that little wrist.
Yeah, that's funny.
So we start rolling, we finish the round, and I basically just used pressure. I was like scared to tap this guy again. So then he asked me, he's like, so how long have you been training? I was like, about 7 years or something like that. And he said, oh, okay. And then, of course, what belt are you? And I was hoping, this is the one time it felt good to say black belt.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping he would have all this guilt rush into his body after he tried, like, telling me, like, dude, you got to be chiller about that.
Yeah.
Well, you're telling someone that has way more experience than you, control than you, so, oh gosh. So I got called a submission ripper at a visiting gym. So then that was fun.
So you told him you were a black belt?
Yeah. And then he goes, oh, well, all right, man. Well, thanks for the round. That was it.
Oh, geez, dude.
It was so good.
That's not a submission ripper, dude. That's called
that's
having your ego hurt.
Yeah, that's what Olivia was saying too.
Yeah.
But so that's the one that I think that at least I got called.
Yeah, I have rolled with you many times, dude. I've never felt like unsafe. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. You big softy.
I would tell you if you were a piece of crap.
I know it. Well, you have told me actually when you're usually off on the side coaching the person I'm going against, and then as I do something else, you're such a piece of shit.
Yes, I have said that.
Affirmative. You said you had a little topic.
Yeah, just we've covered this kind of before. Andrew and I were talking because the group is training up for our competition. Actually, less than 2 weeks now. The kind of fall revolution, and yeah. So we were talking about, periodizing training and intensity and all that. He's competing. So we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, and there was an article that just came out about, they're talking with B Team about Dima Moravani, is that how you pronounce his name?
I can't remember his last name. I know
Yeah,
he
yeah.
left
So
for-
they brought him in as a coach because you got these animals in there at B team who are just, unbelievable athletes and have, they're going to put, it seems like before they were just going round after round, super intense, right? These crazy hard camps. And he brought in a little bit of, hey, we need to periodize this and like have some recovery rounds and really, getting into some of the lower intensities to prevent injury and actually keep your nervous system sharp. So when you actually come to competition day, you're not completely burned out with your central nervous system, and you're in peak performance, right? And a lot of people, it's hard to convince folks, especially, and the stereotype is the younger male, that sometimes they need to back off to really get the most out of what they're putting in. And it was just interesting. They brought him in, and they talked a lot about that he would have, okay, we're going to have an intense round, and then the next round's going to be moderate intensity, and then we're going to do kind of a lower, so he really cycled the intensity in a purposeful way. And those guys did extremely well at both CJI and ADCC, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
And I think bringing someone in like that could actually bring some science to the training. And, I think that's really a good lesson, I think, because it's really hard to convince someone, because I think that more is always better as far as, the intensity. And sure, if you're building mental toughness and things like that, sure. But if we're really looking at really competing like professional athletes compete, we really need to take that into consideration. I just thought it was interesting that Andrew and I were talking about that in his own prep. And then this, he sent me this article that was just published about, talking about what Dima did when he came in to B team.
You know how is Andrew going to try to implement some of that stuff?
Yeah, we already are. And so we're, so after some rounds, who get on the assault bike and hit some anaerobic stuff, like, Tabata kind of things.
Yeah.
But we've talked about, hey, man, why don't we switch your time around to, instead of your 20-second on, 10-second off rounds on the bike, this week, let's switch to 10-20, right? To get more of the rest interval. Just to kind of periodize that, and also having a day where like, hey, I'm going to really hang back a little bit as far as the intensity goes, or maybe, not roll as much. But then also, we need to get those intense rounds in. Don't get me wrong. And that's important. I'm not saying that you never should do that, of course. But I just think that's the mindset is, completely 100% pushing that pace, for every roll leading up to competition. And I think that's doing people a disservice as far as their performances when they actually are on competition day.
Is there anyone else in the gym besides Andrew that's kind of taking this on and like thinking, like intentionally thinking about it? Do you know right now?
No, not, and I don't like giving unsolicited advice, going up, I mean, we are, I'm working with some of the white belts and blue belts for comp. Really, those conversations have come in and they're like, hey, what else should I do outside of jiu-jitsu? And then we have that conversation about, look, you need to get some recovery. It doesn't mean sitting around doing nothing, but you need to get that nervous system recovered some. I think especially as Andrew and I talk more about this and we get a sense, and, especially when you start seeing these performance gains by actually training smartly and using intensity, just like you would dose the medication.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably a bit more formalized maybe later on, like, actually talking to folks as a group. Hey, if you're competing, you really should think about this concept. And it's foreign to a lot of people that are just like, charging, that have that mindset of like, I need to push. I don't, yeah.
It would be it'd be interesting to figure out, like, because everyone's going to be different,
Yep.
especially when it comes to age.
Yeah.
So, how to figure out what works? I mean, I guess really because we're not, especially as being hobbyists or whatever we're
Hmm.
considered, we're not going to have like edema, right? And
Yeah.
you're probably not going to have a head coach that runs that for you because these are hobbyist gyms, like Andrew's competing himself and he's
Yeah.
not going to be able to look at all of,
Sh-
Alan and
yeah.
Carrie Ann and
Sure.
you and whoever and like be able to kind of organize those because that's what like pro gyms do.
But
So
yeah, but we've talked about tools you can use. We've talked about this on previous podcasts where we talk about heart rate variability and grip strength and kind of monitoring the state of your central nervous system yourself, because you're exactly right. I mean, we have some competitors in our late 40s that they can't do that kind of volume as far as
yeah,
intensity, right? And it is so individual because we're also hobbyists and we have other sources of stress. We're not just living to train here.
yeah,
And so that's when some of those tools we've talked about previously, if you want to get scientific about it, and I think it's beneficial to do that, but it also to have the discipline to take that data that you're getting and implement it, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
totally. No, I totally agree. It's one of those things where I mean I myself am guilty of this, and that's just
yeah,
more volume equals I'm getting better. And I think there's probably some truth to that in the earlier stages,
yeah. But
but
let me
you get to the point where there's diminishing returns and your gains as you I think get more skilled are going to be smaller.
for sure, but I want to make a point that when you just say volume, we need to talk about volume of intensity.
Yeah,
Overall training volume, you can really
true.
keep your training volume if you modulate intensity, right?
And I
So,
guess that's true because I've never been someone that's like roll super hard
mm-hmm.
every day or something like that. I've always been, yes, I train a lot of volume, but I am known for like I will say no to Mo. I will say no to Casey. Like I will reject and not do the really hard rounds sometimes, and like
Sometimes,
I get made fun of for it, but it's like
yeah,
all in jest.
but
But it's there's an intentional piece there, but
mm-hmm.
it's not like I'm thinking about it necessarily, like how you're putting out there,
I'm
no,
saying
we should be intentional.
like training today, I kind of have I'm going to be training later tonight, and I already have a good sense of kind of where my nervous system's at. So for me in particular, it's really important because I don't have a lot of wiggle room. And I know going into training tonight, I at least have an intention on how I'm going to approach that. And
Mm,
I will tell my training partners, I'm like, hey, today's kind of a moderate intensity day for me, just so you know, this is what I'm
yeah,
looking for. And that's fine. And other days, like you'll have a day where you want that hard roll with like a Muhammad or a Brian or, you
hmm,
want to push that gas tank, right? And that's important
yeah,
too, but have some intention about it going in. I think that's the biggest thing. And then the thing I struggle with is following through with that intention, because you get there and you get in the moment and you're like, man, this is so much fun. And,
yeah,
yeah, so it takes some discipline as far as that goes. But I think if you are able to do that and really listen to your body, and kind of almost like day to day plan how you're feeling and how you're training, I think you're going to see your jujitsu is going to progress faster. You're going to get less injuries, and your performance is going to go up when we're talking about competition.
yeah. I totally agree. And
Yeah.
it's been interesting being in a different training environment down here, just because training schedules are different.
Mm-hmm.
So, like how they run classes here is they'll do less drill time and more maybe situational.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll do some warm up of some sort, and then they'll go through drilling kind of quickly, at least from what I'm used to. And then they'll jump into situationals, like 1 minute goes
Hmm.
or something like that, and then into sparring rounds. But they cap the sparring rounds. Like they typically don't do more than five.
Okay.
That's like probably a larger day is doing 5 minute rounds,
Hmm.
or six maybe. Um, Partly because they butt classes up, like they have a lot of
I
classes, like
get
back
it.
to back to back.
Sure.
But I found that I am recovering a little bit from injuries, I think, because like one of the things we pride ourselves on at Cascade is we love seeing that round timer get to 10.
Yeah.
We love that thing having to reset it. It gets to 10 6-minute rounds, and
Hmm.
then we got to reset the dang thing because people are still going.
Hmm.
That's always something that I know, like Andrew and I would talk about it because there's other gyms that would kind of promote that we did 14 rounds or something, but
Mm.
maybe they're like 4-minute rounds or something. And it's like, well, okay, we're doing six and we're getting 10 in, and it's sometimes even more. But I bring that up because sometimes I'm pushing myself to do another one and not say no, you know, and that's when kind of the lasting fatigue for the next day or two can happen.
That's right.
And maybe, I mean, it seems like always the injuries happen on the last freaking round of the night.
Well, but you're bringing up a good point. We've talked about a couple years ago with overtraining, where
Mhm.
you can have a day like that we call overreaching. But as long as you allow the sufficient recovery from that, you can actually get what's called super compensation. You actually can get super good gains out of that as long as you don't do it again the next day, right?
Mm,
Yeah, so those days are beneficial if you like, okay, I had a really rough one. I'm really going to back off for the next 2 or 3 days. And
yeah,
I think you'll see crazy good gains that way.
yeah, yeah. I agree, and I feel like I'm by just having a little bit of a mix,
Mm.
it's been beneficial. But at the same time, I do miss having more than 4 rounds. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, gosh, I'm in it. Like you said, today I'm like, I could do 8 9 rounds today, and I'm ready for it. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
body feels good and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But anyways,
Yeah.
well, dude, that's all we got. This was, I think, about an hour.
Yep. It's just over an hour.
Crushed it.
Yep.
So, um, you can go ahead and start that outro
Oh
music
yeah.
because what we got coming is I know we got some questions coming in for Carrie again, so we could potentially have her on. So if people have anything for hormones and stuff like that, please shoot them in here. You want Chris to respond to anything,
Yeah.
shoot them in here. Or if you just got a topic you want us to talk about.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
And thanks for bearing with us with our kind of schedule and logistics stuff. It's been tough. You're doing the best you can for that impromptu studio you got going on there. So
Yeah, we'll try to always at least get a solo episode out between one of us,
Yeah.
even if we can't get a duel going. So with that, guys, grapplingwithpodcast@gmail.com. Please like, subscribe. Let us know if you like what you hear.
Awesome. You guys take care. See ya.
Say